Good morning, Life Church. Today we're looking at Acts chapter 15, verses 36 to 41. This is a bit of a sad story. It's about Paul and Barnabas falling out over another man called John Mark, who deserted them a couple of chapters earlier in Acts 13. And Paul and Barnabas fall out about whether to take John Mark with them on their next missionary journey. Paul says no, because John Mark had left them previously. Barnabas says yes. Did make me wonder, does Andy look at these passages really closely and go, here's a passage about disagreement, I'll give it to Al. I don't know whether he does that. But it's a sad story because Paul and Barnabas had done such great things together for God as they'd been out spreading the gospel to places where the gospel hadn't been preached before. And also they'd helped the church through a difficult disagreement over doctrine and practice that we've read in the last few days. But still, they fall out. It's not easy to see who was at fault, but perhaps there were mistakes, both from Barnabas and Paul, and certainly there were from John Mark. But the good news is, as we read the rest of the story in Acts and also through some of the letters, is that we see Paul and Barnabas were reconciled. In Galatians it says 14 years later they were working together again. We also hear that John Mark was mightily used by God and is commended by Paul in one of his other letters. And the most important thing that we see is that Paul and Barnabas don't let this disagreement stop them getting on with spreading the gospel. They both go off to different places to spread the good news with different people helping them. At times we will fall out over things, and perhaps sometimes we won't do that well. It's important we apologise. It's important we say sorry for things like that. But when we do mess up, God does give us a second chance. He gave it to Paul, he gave it to Barnabas, and he gave it to John Mark. And all three of them still wanted to be involved in seeing the good news spread. Don't let disagreement stop you doing the things that God calls you to do. Have a great day. God bless.